renew their rivalry today in an important Thanksgiving Day matchup in Dallas.
They come in, they buy the club for $110 million. They ought to do what they want to with it.
It's been a long time since we've heard from Tom Landry. Today, one of the great coaches shares some of his thoughts with us.
Hi, I'm Rocky Bleier, and this is my family. My daughter Samantha, my son Adri, and my lovely wife Alita. And this is Alex, wishing all of you a very happy Thanksgiving.
We'll have holiday greetings and football memories from former Steelers and Cowboys on this special Thanksgiving edition of NFL Live. Texas Stadium, just outside Dallas, site of today's traditional Thanksgiving Day game as the Dallas Cowboys host the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's a crucial game for the Cowboys, who come off a big upset of the Redskins, and at 7-5, they're very much alive for a wild card berth in the NFC. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Bob Costas with Will McDonough and Bill Parcells, and O.J. will join us shortly to spread his brand of holiday cheer. Bill, can I assume that not being around a football field is kind of new for you on Thanksgiving?
Well, 35 years either playing or getting a team ready for practice. Coincidentally, one of those games or one of those Thanksgivings at Detroit, 1982.
The game I'll always remember when I think of football on Thanksgiving was in Detroit, outside, not indoors like it is these days. 1962, Packers were defending champions, looked invincible. They'd lose only one game that year, and the Lions handed it to them with that pass rush.
11 sacks that day on Bart Starr.
Alex Karras and Roger Brown, they were all over him. Okay, on to today's game, an important one for the Dallas Cowboys. They return home after a 3-game road trip. The gentlemen who will call the action are Dick Enberg and Bill Walsh. Let's join them now for the latest from Texas Stadium. Happy Thanksgiving, guys.
Happy Thanksgiving to you and yours, Bob, and all the women in our lives. The Dallas Cowboy fans, they have renewed excitement. It is back here in Big D about their team, and they feel, as we look at the playoff picture, that at 7-5 and going against a team that they feel they can be today, Pittsburgh, they're very much a part of the playoff picture as a wild card. The weather today, warm enough to make the turkey perspire. It's going to be 75 to 78 degrees at kickoff time. Troy Aikman, who is having a superb year, goes down in Washington, a bittersweet win on Sunday.
It sure is, and the problem with Troy Aikman is minor injuries, and in this case it could have put him out for the year with a knee problem, but fortunately Steve Beuerlein's available, and to me Steve's a fine performer, a guy that's proven himself with the Raiders, and so I don't think they've lost a step.
Beuerlein acquired from the Raiders for a number 4 draft pick, and he makes the fit with this Dallas team. They're very excited about the way he played last week against the Skins, and he goes after Pittsburgh today, although he'll be playing with an injury. He, too, was nicked and hit it very well against the Skins, a very bad ankle.
Well, that's a problem. I think it's going to, you can see how tightly it's bound. It'll limit what he does, Dick, and I don't think they'll be asking him to move around. It'll be play passes and the running game, and that's going to be critical for Dallas.
And they have one of the game's top runners in Emmitt Smith. For Pittsburgh, their leading rusher, Barry Foster, it's still maybe on his injured ankle. They hope that this Dallas native will be able to play today.
That could be a problem. Warming up, very, very stiff, didn't do very much. So to me, it'll be Merrill Hodge carrying the load again for Pittsburgh. He's done it before, but he's going to have to really be an Iron Man today.
Cowboys and Steelers, Bob, will be back in a bit.
All right, Dick, Bill, thanks. We'll check back with you for the call of the game on this Thanksgiving Day. What do you think?
Well, I think this is Dallas's necessary game. They've got New Orleans, Philadelphia, and Atlanta, 3 strong playoff contenders. This looks like their best chance in the last month. Beuerlein, Dallas needs to get this one.
Regardless of what they do today, and with Aikman out, just as he was toward the end of last year when they missed the playoffs, there's a question mark. But they're on the verge of becoming a very good team. The Walsh trade, the Herschel Walker trade, they stockpiled the picks, they got the young players. They got 6 picks in the first 3 rounds in the upcoming draft. They're on their way, aren't they?
Well, they're very close. You know, they won 7 last year. They'd like to improve on that this year and get in the playoffs. That's been their goal all along.
Really?
Something that you just said, Bob, when I was talking to Tom Landry earlier this week, he said, things are going to change for the Cowboys now. With their record, beating Washington last Sunday, they're going to be recognized as a contender. And once you're recognized as a contender, things get a lot tougher.
Well, the early game on this Thanksgiving Day was a battle between the top 2 teams in the NFC Central. It's just about over. Looks like the Lions will tie for the top spot in that Central Division. They're in front 16-6. Their only touchdown, an Eric Kramer 9-yard pass to Robert Clark. Eddie Murray has 3 field goals, including a 50-yarder. Kevin Butler has kicked 2 field goals for the Bears. Neither Barry Sanders nor Neil Anderson has had an overwhelming day. The Bears have been inside the 20-yard line on 5 different occasions in this game, and they have not scored a touchdown. They only have the 2 Kevin Butler field goals. So 16-6 Detroit. Both these clubs will be 9-4 with 3 games remaining in the regular season. They have split their 2 games head-to-head. On this day of giving thanks, many of the players around the NFL have reason to give thanks as well. The Oilers' Warren Moon has always been charitable in the Houston community. Through his Crescent Moon Foundation, well, he gives both time and money.
There's so many people at Christmas and Thanksgiving that don't have an opportunity to either have a good meal or have a nice Christmas dinner and gifts and the whole bit. So this is a very special time for me and my family to be able to give back to those who don't have as much.
Several members of the Miami Dolphins, including linebacker Mike Reichenbach, spread some holiday cheer by distributing free turkeys this week.
As far as taking things to different people and the people knowing about it, and these are people we know who need, so of course we wanted to do anything we could.
At halftime today, we're going to bring you the story of Broncos rookie defensive end Kenny Walker. Walker is deaf, and last week, with Denver playing at Seattle, the Seahawks had the national anthem communicated in sign language as a gesture of respect to Walker. And Gail Gardner will bring you Kenny Walker's remarkable story at halftime. Up next, O.J. joins us. We'll hear from some of the former Cowboys and Steelers with Thanksgiving greetings and recollections of a great rivalry. That's as NFL Live continues on Thanksgiving Day.
This special Thanksgiving edition of NFL Live is brought to you by Subaru, it's what to drive. By Cotton Incorporated for America's cotton growers. Cotton, the fabric of our lives. And by Radio Shack, America's technology store. Nobody compares.
Making a sports car, it seems mandatory to mention how fast it can go. All right, with an overhead cam engine capable of producing 228 pounds of torque, the new Subaru SVX can reach speeds in excess of 140 miles per hour. But how important is that? Most of the time you're in traffic, and anyway, it's stupid and dangerous and a waste of precious fossil fuels to drive like that. Instead, why not mention the things you shouldn't mention about a sports car? A strong weld, an anti-lock braking system, the ability to carry 4 adults, all-wheel drive, engineering that endures. Still, if it's speed you want, we promise you'll easily be able to go as fast as the law allows. Subaru, what to drive.
In the silent dawn, a golden sun, soft kiss, warm smile, the day's begun, the touch, the feel, the fabric of our lives, the touch, the feel of cotton, the fabric of our lives.
It's Christmas, and Radio Shack has great holiday values, like this Duophone answering machine on sale for $69.95. We can get our messages from anywhere.
Honey, guess what? I was just at Radio Shack, and they have that Duophone cordless telephone I want on sale. It has handset paging, automatic redial for $59.95. Just thought I'd mention it. Bye.
Thanks, Radio Shack.
Great selection, specially priced for Christmas.
Radio Shack, America's technology store.
He's going to throw. He's a Swan. Touchdown. Lynn Swan. Touchdown.
You know, it's tough to think of the Steelers and the Cowboys without thinking of those Super Bowl games, 10 and 13. 2 of the best ever, both won by Pittsburgh.
Well, certainly the rivalry between those two teams was forged in the 70s when they met in those Super Bowls. Now, I attended both games, and they were among the finest Super Bowls I've ever seen. Now, we had a chance to spend some time with those players and get their memories as well as their holiday thoughts. More than a decade removed from their classic Super Bowl meetings, the players from these two great teams are spending this Thanksgiving mixing football memories with holiday wishes.
Hi, I'm Tony Dorsett, number 33, and this is Mary. She's number 1. When I think of the Steelers, I think of Super Bowl 13, the game that we lost 35-31. But I'd like to take this time to wish those Steelers, and of course, my former teammates, a happy Thanksgiving. And of course, to all of you out there, happy Thanksgiving.
Tony is now president of DA Chemical in Dallas. Over in Pittsburgh, Franco Harris works for a sporting card company, and Lynn Swan is a broadcaster.
Anyway, Franco, we never played on Thanksgiving Day.
Yes, we did.
When?
One day.
No, we didn't.
Yes, played against the Detroit Lions.
What year?
That would be 1982.
I wasn't there. I retired, Franco. We didn't play him in 82. 83, you played him.
Oh, 83, we played him. That's right.
I wasn't there.
Yeah, I was there. You know what? You're lucky.
Thank you.
Because we got killed.
Hey, shall we say happy Thanksgiving?
I think we should.
Okay.
Yes. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. From the old guys.
Hi, I'm Roger Staubach, and off to my starboard side is our son Jeff, our youngest daughter Amy, my wife Marianne, a good-looking grandmother, our granddaughter Jessica, our oldest daughter Jennifer, and our son-in-law John. We're missing Michelle and Stephanie. It's Thanksgiving Day, the Steelers. It brings back a cold sweat to me. Mean Joe Green, Jack Lambert, some tough losses, but the new young Cowboys are going to take care of those Steelers today.
Happy Thanksgiving!
Roger lives in Dallas and is chairman of the Staubach Real Estate Company.
Hello, my name is Robert Newhouse, formerly number 44 of the Dallas Cowboys, and I'd like to introduce everyone to my lovely family. Of course, number 1, my wife, Nancy Newhouse, and my twin daughters, Danielle and Chantel, and my youngest son, Reginald, and of course, my oldest son, Roderick Newhouse, and hopefully one day he'll wear number 44 and be able to play in the NFL and beat up on some Pittsburgh Steelers. But anyway, happy Thanksgiving to everyone.
Robert remains with the Cowboys as Director of Sports Development. Rocky Blyer, his wife, son, and daughter live in Pittsburgh, where Rocky runs a management firm.
Bradshaw and myself made eye contact across the field. He was rushing dearly for his life towards the sidelines, and he released the ball, and the ball came floating into the air, and I leaped all 5'9.5" me as high as I possibly could. 18, 19, 20 feet, I kind of forget after all these years, and I grabbed that ball and came down into the end zone to give us that lead, and of course the momentum then to carry us on to the second half.
Of course, there were some guys we just couldn't find. Does anyone ever know what happened to what's his name? Terry Bradshaw. After finishing his playing career in 1983, Terry seems to have just vanished.
Yes, his whereabouts are unknown. He has sadly slipped into obscurity.
Well, he was a great quarterback, and they had a great offense, but I look at their defense, and Bill, I can never recall seeing a defense with more impact players.
Well, they had a solid front line, a great group of linebackers, and the secondary was full of playmakers. I mean, what else you want?
Pittsburgh won both those Super Bowls, and to take nothing away from the Steelers, though, especially you look at Super Bowl 13, the great Jackie Smith should be in the Hall of Fame, unfortunately drops that pass in the end zone. Controversial pass interference against Benny Barnes. That one could have gone to Dallas. We'll go to Dallas to talk things over with the only coach the Cowboys had for the first 29 years of their existence, Tom Landry. His conversation with Will McDonough is next.
Darling, after 10 years, the only thing I'd change about you is your clothes.
You go, boy.
Why don't you try this one on first?
Dave Thomas is still traveling the world over looking for new foods for Wendy's.
No, thanks. I just ate. Hi. Boy, I sure could go for a Big Dave's Deluxe.
It's back. Made with a quarter pound of fresh beef, cheese, 3 strips of bacon, sauteed onions. The works.
Hey, this isn't Piccadilly.
Come in for another Big Dave's Deluxe, only at Wendy's.
There's no place like home.
Hey, D Brown, what are you doing here in New York?
Trying to steal my new dunk.
my new shoes, Reebok Omni Zones.
Reebok Omni Zones?
Yeah, very lightweight, which is key for this jam.
Oh, yeah? Which jam?
The King Kong jam.
Ready when you are, Tony!
Why I bought what I bought. The 92 Oldsmobile 88 Royale. To look at the car, most impressive. Then I found out why. Oldsmobile went straight to the people. What would you change? Smoother lines, more aerodynamic, driver's side airbag, anti-lock brakes, fingertip controls, a user-friendly interior. Oldsmobile listened and acted. And that's why I bought what I bought.
Get 2.9 GMAC financing on 88 Royale from your North Country Olds dealer.
And we sent Clint Longley and hadn't played a game, a down in there. And it was right at the end of the ball game. And Clint came back and threw a touchdown pass to Drew Pearson, the last play to win the ball game by 1 point. And George kept saying, hey, Drew Pearson broke his route. That's the only reason they scored against us.
Well, the George Landry refers to, of course, is the late George Allen. Tom Landry coached 21 Thanksgiving Day games for Dallas, but none was as memorable as that one. This week, the great Cowboy coach sat down with the great Will McDonough.
Tom, when I came in here last night, I was talking to some of the local people, and we told them we're going to see you today. They said, Tom Landry, he sort of like disappeared, you know? And they can't understand how you could sort of just divorce yourself from football the way you have.
Well, you know, it's amazing. When it happened, when the ownership changed, it just seems like I just quit thinking about football, and I thought about other things. And since that time, I haven't missed it at all, which most people would be very surprised. But you got to remember, well, I've been in it 40 years, you know, of pro football, and that's an awful long time.
Yeah, you've told me I think you've only been in the stadium, what, once or twice to see the Cowboys play since you left?
No, I haven't even been in the stadium since the Cowboys left. I think football teams are people. I think it's the coaches, the athletes, you know, that play, the front office, and all that's been stripped out of the Cowboys, which I don't say that's wrong. I mean, they come in, they buy the club for $110 million. They ought to do what they want to with it in there. But you just doesn't feel like it's the Dallas Cowboys to me when I look at it, because I don't recognize anybody.
There's been a big thing around here, a little bit about the country, about the Ring of Honor. People want you to go in there. I think there was some kind of an invitation for you to go in there, and yet you haven't gone in there. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, at the time, I think a couple of years ago, we talked about it some, and I just didn't feel comfortable at that time, you know, going into the Ring of Honor. And this past year, not a lot was said about it. So, and I'm not really concerned about it, Will. You know, I love the guys that are in there already.
But I think you would like to be in there. I talked to Tex this year when he went in the Hall of Fame, and he sort of told me, he says, I think if the thing's approached right, and Tom really feels right about the way it was approached and everything, that he would like to go in there. Does that pretty much sum up the way it is?
Well, I guess so. Well, I haven't really thought much about it in there. If it comes up again, then I'm going to have a reaction. I'm not sure what it's going to be.
Do you see the game changing since you've been out of it?
The game is changing, well, because of several reasons. One thing is the ownership is changing. And so you're seeing a different leadership coming out of the National Football League at this point. And a lot of it is because it's so expensive. You know, just like Jerry Jones buys the Cowboys for, what they say, $110 million or something. Well, when you do that, the game changes a little bit. And it's different from that standpoint. The money is different. It's getting so big. You know, and
I think what you're saying is there's more pressure now. Do you think that sort of filters down to the coaches and maybe even the officials?
Yeah, I don't think there's any question. I think when Bill Walsh stepped down, he stepped down from the pressure. I think Bill Parcells did, because he recognized the pressure there and he stepped down. And I think that's what you're going to see in the National Football League from the coaches' standpoint.
Thanksgiving Day games and around the country, Tom, became a tradition when you were there. You know, people had their dinner and they'd turn on the TV set. Well, you're not with them this Thanksgiving. What will you be doing?
Well, I'll be enjoying my turkey a lot better. You know, a lot of times on Thanksgiving, we always ate after the game, you know, and sometimes I couldn't eat very well because we didn't play very well. But It was a tradition in our house, you know, that we'd always come together after the game, and so, but we're going to come together this time and enjoy the game and not worry about it. I'll enjoy the turkey very much this year.
But you'll still have the game on, I bet.
Probably will, yeah.
You know, through the years, Tom Landry has received his share of criticism. Some of it's been rather harsh over the last few years, and that's understandable. You can't be in that position that long without getting involved in some controversies, making some mistakes, so there may be some merit in some of that, but you take people as you find them. I remember when I was 24 years old, I was working for KMOX Radio in St. Louis. The Cardinals were hosting the Cowboys. That was then a big game in the NFC East, the mid-'70s. I'd just come out of Don Coryell's office, and my next appointment was to talk with Tom Landry. 24 years old, you're a little intimidated. I'll never forget the way Landry treated me. You know, it just made me feel at ease and comfortable, talk with me at length. I found the guy to be a gentleman every time I ever dealt with him.
Well, along with that, Bob, you know, when I first got in the league, even though it was strong competition, Coach Landry had the time for a young coach like myself to answer questions. And I know when he retired, I wrote him a letter thanking him for paving the way for guys like myself. And I think he epitomizes all that's good about coaching in the NFL.
He's right. You know, Tom Landry's one of the class guys I've come across in 30 years in the game. When I was down there talking to him this week, I said, well, how's retirement, Tom? You're taking it easy as well. I'm traveling 3 or 4 days a week. My wife keeps saying to me, Tom, you're supposed to be retired. And he says his biggest problem right now is learning how to say no. He hasn't learned that yet.
Well, we're going to have to step aside here for just a moment. But up next, we're rejoined by the Juice. He'll take a look back to last Thanksgiving, which was a special one for him. That's as NFL Live continues.
And you'll find a luxury car says a lot about its owner.
Mine says I'm witty beyond belief.
Mine says I'm more Europeanish.
Mine says I'm the product of superior genes.
A luxury car says
I'm so successful I can go into debt.
I'm much more handsome. Cosmopolitan.
Another pathetic sheep following the herd.
Says a lot. I'm irresistible.
Powerful.
Stylish. Sexy.
Dynamic.
The all-wheel drive Subaru Legacy. All it says is that you bought a great car and you can still pay your mortgage.
If you could be the executive producer, would you choose this event or this event? With the Olympics Triplecast, you'll get 24-hour coverage for 15 days on 3 cable channels. So now for the '92 Barcelona Olympics, you can choose your event. Call 1-800-OLYMPIC. The Olympics Triplecast, a whole new way to see the games.
VHS camcorders just got into shape. The Sharp Slim Cam, the world's smallest, lightest full-size VHS camcorder. Big camcorder features like 12:1 zoom and tapes that fit your VCR. Sharp Slim Cam, the great new shape in camcorders.
At Braun, we believe even if you're not at your best in the morning, at least you can look like you are. Braun, the world's #1 selling foil shaver.
This is a T-72M1 Polish-built Russian design tank. And as you can see, it's just built for a person that's 5 feet 5'6". Small people that made it a small.
Wait. 5'6"?
5'6".
Bob, no. I won't get into that.
Yeah, well, at least you understand now that there are some things for which a person who is nicely compact is better suited than one who is grossly oversized.
Yeah, you would have been very comfortable in one of those tanks with those stealth bombers coming in there. I'm sure you would have been very comfortable, Bob.
Yeah.
Well, you know, my trip to the Middle East was really unforgettable, but I must admit I'm glad to be here this year. And so are most of the men and women from Operation Desert Storm and Desert Shield who are reunited with their families for this Thanksgiving.
With Thanksgiving upon us again, it hardly seems possible that a year has passed since visiting the troops in Saudi Arabia. The images are still fresh, but the memory of one soldier, Specialist Anthony Deemer, left a lasting memory.
I'm making hot water. A lot of people say that I couldn't boil hot water, but I proved them wrong. You see what I'm saying? Look at that water right there. You see it? Look like it want to boil. Look like it want to boil.
Well, what is it going to be?
It's going to be hot gold, Texas tea, black gold, Texas tea, the good old coffee, Java. Yetta.
1 year later, Anthony is stationed at Fort Stewart in Hinesville, Georgia, and I paid him a visit last week.
Hey, how you doing, Jay? How you been doing?
Not bad, man. How you doing?
I'm trying to hang.
The isolation of the desert prevented Anthony from seeing the show last year, so we held a private screening. Is this what you thought it was going to be like when you joined the Army?
No,
What did you expect? Join the Army and see the world?
Well, you know, that's true. I just wanted to see a little portion of the world, not this far, you know, but since I'm over here, you know, my motto is be all you can be and get out, you know.
What's your plans now?
I might re-enlist, you know. I go ahead on and I'll just deal with it a couple more years. You know, it's all right.
On January 28th, while he was in Saudi Arabia, Anthony's wife, Tanya, gave birth to their second child, Chelsea, a new sister for their 3-year-old daughter, Allison.
From the Deemer family to all of you, we like to wish you a happy Thanksgiving, and you never know how much you have to be thankful for.
Well, the juice tells me that Anthony Deemer is from Louisiana. As such, he's a Saints fan. His team rests along with most of the rest of the league today. The Lions are finished now with the Bears. 16-6 is the final from the Silverdome in Pontiac. Those two teams are tied now atop the NFC Central. Two more teams set to go to work, the Steelers and the Cowboys from Dallas. We'll be back with you at halftime and bring you the story of the Broncos' Kenny Walker.
My dad had ulcers, so when my stomach started acting up, I was afraid to go to the doctor. But finally, I went. Was I relieved when my doctor said Mylanta? He said it was indigestion, not an ulcer, and my kind of indigestion called for a strong medicine.
Mylanta is strong medicine, strongly recommended. In fact, Mylanta is the antacid doctors recommend most.
My doctor said Mylanta.
And try Mylanta's Mylacon. It has the best medicine for gas.
Sunday, join Dwight Yoakam, Larry Gatlin and the Gatlin brothers, Kathy Patea, and me, Randy Travis, for Hot Country Nights. That's NBC Sunday.
You know how it is. Sometimes it's a real jungle out there. So why not get away from it all to the Peel Pub, where treating you right is something we take a lot of pride in. Discover the Peel Pub and share the pride. Peel Pub, part of a great day.
Become part of the team. L'Esprit d'Equipe. Wear what the pros wear. Starter. L'Esprit d'Equipe has 6 stores full of starter team jackets, hats, sports equipment, and memorabilia.